Dopamine Chamber by Fontaines DC. Let's talk about it. So I think the best way to start this video is by talking about, the new song released, Marianne. It came out yesterday, and I'm gonna give you my honest review. I thought it was good. I did. I liked it. The first time I heard it, I listened to Radio 1 for I had never listened to Radio 1, but I put it on because I saw on their Instagram that they were playing it at 8:50 a.m. like a premiere kind of thing. So I put it on at 8:50 and I listened to it, and I thought this is quite good. Obviously, they put snippets of it on their Instagram already anyway, so I knew a bit what it sounded like. But then I sort of heard it in full and was like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I like it. And then I decided to look on their Instagram, see if they had said anything, and they said that it came out on Spotify at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, oh, alright then, I'll head on. So obviously it was on the radio at 8:50, so by the time I was looking at my phone, I think it was about 8:58, and I went onto Spotify, and it was already on there, even though they said it was coming out on 9, it was on there at 8:58, so I played it again, and I actually thought, yeah, this is good. Yeah, I put it straight into the liked song, and straight into my, my best playlist of my best songs, and I thought, this is pretty good. And since then, I've probably listened to it over 10 times now, and I've got to say, it was good. It was really good. Out of 10, I'd probably give it. I'd give it a 9. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 because it was. I really liked it. I liked the vibe, the kind of style, the electro cyberpunk, but then calm, but then is in that it wasn't rocky. It was like a calm song. But then it had a feeling of, actually, it was not calm at all. Under the surface, there was a lot going on. And it kind of had that feeling of, you're in another world, you think you're somewhere, but you're not. Linking to drugs or some kind of medicine or, that kind of thing, where you're not, it's not reality. And I really liked that. And I watched the music video later on when it came out on YouTube, and it was weird. It was really weird. But, having said that, most of their music videos are really weird, especially if you look back at the previous album, Romance, which I've got on the back up here. If you look back at that, the music videos for that, Bug, Starburster, Here's the Thing, and In the Modern World, they're all bizarre. Here's the Thing, it's a 2-minute 30-second long song, and the music video is 7.5 minutes. So they've got found in 5 minutes of a person caring for a spider, and I don't know. I guess they've all got some kind of story, which is good, but it is weird. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it certainly fit the bill, similar to the Romance music videos. Which, having said that, that was my biggest disappointment. Not so much a disappointment, but something I felt like it could have done more was the fact that it was very similar to Romance. Now, as I say, it's not a bad thing. It is their best-selling album. Was it nominated for 2 Grammys, I think it was. And yeah, I think it was nominated for 2 Grammys. Anyway, it won lots of awards, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So clearly, it is very good, and I agree. It is probably my favourite album ever. Yeah, by any band, or at least certainly up there in the top 3. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and the deluxe edition as well. Those 3 extra songs, just perfect. Definitely album of the year at least. So yeah, I'm happy because it was a good. I like the style, but this song I felt like it could have just been part of no one would have said, oh, that's a bit out of place, that doesn't fit in the album, if it was in Romance, or even just an extra track on the deluxe edition. I just thought, I just feel like, yes, I guess it was their most popular, so obviously they want to not replicate it, but they want to do a similar style to it, which is fair enough. Obviously they do whatever they want, it's their band, but I just felt like it was too similar. I kind of want, bands change more or less in an album, from album to album, their style adapts. If you look at Kasabian, for example, as I've got up on the on my t-shirt there behind me, all of their albums are very different. Yeah, maybe their first albums are vaguely similar, but they're not, the same style. They've all got they've all got their own unique style. Obviously, this is only one song. We're still going to have, I presume, 2 or 3 more songs released as singles before the release of Dopamine Chamber in October. So maybe I'll do another video after they've all been released and see if my views are still the same. I just feel like they could have done maybe a drum and bass line or a bit rockier, just to be different to Romance. I liked it, as I say, as a song, it was 9 out of 10, pushing for that 10. I really, really liked it. But if this is what the album's going to be like, yeah, I'm still going to love the album. I loved Romance, didn't I? It was one of my favourite albums, as I said. I'm still going to love this album. It's going to be very popular. I can already tell by looking at other people's social media and seeing their reactions to this. So yeah, it's going to be very successful, and it's still going to be a very good album, but I just feel like they could do something different. Having said that, though, I was then listening, this got me back listening to their other songs. I listened to all their songs generally, but I listened to the other albums, and it kind of felt like, actually, maybe it's not so strange that it's quite similar, because I found that actually, I realised that the first 3 albums, now I have to cut that one out, are actually fairly not the same, no, obviously, as I say, all albums have their own style, but having listened to Dogrel, and then A Hero's Death, and then Skinty Fia, like, in a row, I listened to them all in a row. I felt that Dogrel, like, flowed well into A Hero's Death, and A Hero's Death flowed well into Skinty Fia. If you listen to Dogrel, the 2019 album, straight then to Skinty Fia, it wouldn't have been so good. It wouldn't have been so smooth of a transition. But having The Hero's Death in the middle, I felt like those 3 albums as a trilogy worked really well. Obviously, it's about isn't the first album about, like, living in Dublin, and then is it A Hero's Death or Skinty Fia? One of them is about living away from Dublin. I'm not sure what the other one's about, but the style was similar. Obviously, it's different. Skinty Fia was a bit more similar to Romance in a way. Doggle was a bit more grounded and a bit more, as I say, it was to do with staying in Dublin, so it's going to be more, like, local, grounded, a bit more gritty, if you know what I mean. Hero's Death was kind of in the middle. Some of it was like the Skinty Fia tracks, and then some of it was just like similar to Doggle, which is, as I say, as an album, it worked really well. Romance, I kind of felt was on its own. Obviously, as I said, Skinty Fia was a bit more similar to Romance. That you could listen to them next to each other, back to back, and you wouldn't. It's not like listening to a Drake album and then coming to a Fontaines DC album, like, completely different, obviously, because it's the same band, it is similar style, but it's different. So maybe that's just Fontaines DC way with Dopamine Chamber. Obviously, as I say, it's only one song, but if the other songs, I imagine, are going to be similar style to this, maybe Fontaines DC way is just going to do it. Who knows how many albums they're going to do? There could be like a Sabian whose 9th album is coming out in September. You could have 9 albums, in which case that could be 3 trilogies. So the first style being a bit more rocky, this second style more cyberpunk, electro, not electro, but a bit more out of this world, so to speak. And then they could have a whole nother 3 albums after that, and a whole nother trilogy, and a whole nother style. This album could be their last. Who knows? I'd like to think, at least after this we'd at least get 1 or 2 more albums. But we'll see. Yeah, you never know how long bands are gonna last for. Like Nirvana, I'm sure most people probably thought they were gonna last longer. But obviously Kurt Cobain died, so you never know. Something tragic could happen. Obviously, we hope that it doesn't, but it could. Maybe this is their way of doing things. Their first 3 albums are similar and work well together, and then Romance and Dopamine Chamber, and if they have another album after that, they might all flow and work together. Or maybe it's just going to be Romance and Dopamine Chamber, like in a duo instead of a I just forgot the word. I said trilogy. That's it. Maybe more of a duology instead of a trilogy. and then maybe we'll have another album or two, or a couple of albums after that will again fit nicely together, but be different from the previous albums. I don't know. Have they just made this style to fit romance because that was so insanely popular and gave them, loads more, loads of awards and money, isn't it? Or is this just their new style that they like? From what I've seen of Fontaines DC, I like to hope it's the latter. But who knows with anyone? Money can change everything. I know that's not what I'm getting into. As I say, I'm fine with it being the style it is. I like it. I just feel like they could have changed. But then, as I say, having looked back at those previous albums, I'm not so bothered. Fontaines DC, if the rest of this album is going to be like Marianne, clearly going to be more of a band of, albums joined together rather than separate, completely different, not completely different, but their own unique style albums, like Kasabian. This is clearly something that they could do. Most artists, most bands don't even get to 5 albums, so they're clearly very successful. And considering their first album was only 7 years ago, 5 albums in 7 years is insane work. And what's insane work is that Green Chatton, I think it's Green Chatton's their songwriter, isn't he? Yeah. They wrote 40 songs for this album. Is it just? I don't know generally how many songs they write, but I think 40 sounds like a lot of albums. Considering the first one was in 2019, then they had one a year after 2020, Hero's death. That a year between albums is very short. Then they had 2 years to Skinty Fia, and then another 2 years to Romance. Now we're getting another 2 years to Dopamine Chamber. 5 albums in the space of 7 years is crazy work. It really is. And as I say, 40 songs. Are these including, are these extra ones that they had from Romance and just wanted to carry over? Or are they completely new songs? In which case, either way is fine. I just feel like that's wasted. Like, why not make them all? Obviously, I presume some of them will be used for the deluxe edition. I presume we'll get a deluxe edition. Who knows? Maybe if they are going to have 3 styles of sorry, I tried to do 3 there, but I did cross fingers. 3 albums in a style. Then maybe some of these songs might be used in the next album, or will they just completely start fresh, even if it is the same style? Will they just completely rewrite? Which I reckon is what they'll do. I just feel like they've wrote them all. Why not perform it? Obviously, they're not going to have 40 songs in an album. That'd be crazy. Even in a deluxe edition, in deluxe edition, you're probably going to have a maximum of 20 songs. And generally, that's a lot of extra songs. Unless you had a live version, but obviously that's not including new ones. So, yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts. I really like the new song, Marianne. As a song, it is, 9 or 10 out of 10. It is really, really good. I really like it. Yeah, I'll go 9.5. 9.5 out of 10. But if this is what the album's going to be like, as I say, I'm not complaining, so to speak. It's still going to be a great album, I'm sure. Anything Fontaines DC makes, or most stuff they make, is good. But I just feel like they could have adapted. But as I say, having looked back at those other albums, I can see maybe why they haven't changed as much of a style. I like it. I really, I'm happy with it. I really like the new song. And if you enjoyed this too, then go check out my channel. I've done one for Kasabians, reviewing all of the singles released in preparation for their upcoming album, and also for Nothing But Thieves, their 3 singles they've released in preparation for their upcoming album. A similar video to this. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, go check them out and consider liking and subscribing, as it really helps out the channel, as obviously we're a very, very small channel trying to grow this, but we couldn't do it without you guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please stay tuned, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one, I guess. But let me know down in the comments what you think of Marianne and what you hope for Dopamine Chamber and for the future in Fontaines DC, and also any other bands or anything at all, any other kind of content you want me to make. Put it down in the comments, and I'll try my best. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.